I know something a little bit about community building. I grew up in this neighborhood in the Dudley Street Triangle when we had 1,400 parcels of vacant land. And today I'm the state senator. In one generation, my mom was a teen immigrant mom. She dropped out of Madison Park High School, which is just down the street, and she came to work in Boston hotels as a cook. So my mom still isn't retired. She's still working in these hotels, actually at the Sheraton Boston. She's done like 35 years. And it's just amazing to see shorts that talk about how people, everyday people, can do extraordinary things. And I just was like, Lisa, I would not watch the game for nobody else, but I got 15 minutes, I got someone watching the game across the hall, she yells, I'm out of here. But just wanted to get to know the filmmakers a little bit, say your name, short, and maybe something interesting about you, because I really think it's super important at times that we're living in right now, right? Some perilous times, that we actually get a little bit of hope, and inspiration, and motivation about how we're gonna survive, right? And how we're gonna thrive over the next couple of years through this administration. So I'm gonna start with you at the end. Just say your name, maybe the film, and let's just say, you want something interesting. So why did you get involved in the project that you got involved in?
I'm Nick Davis, I'm APCO. I was the town that chose to thrive.
Louder?
My name is Nick Davis, I'm APCO. I was part of the town that chose to thrive. And I work for the Union of Concerned Scientists, a nonprofit in Massachusetts and nationwide. And this project started with some of our work with agrivoltaics, which you saw in the film. It's the combination of solar and gardening and farming. And we had an expert in our organization who was very involved with the Allensworth community, and through that we kind of built trust and built relationships, and they helped build the narrative for the video. So we were very blessed to work with them, to spend a week with the community, and it was a really great experience. So happy to talk more about the film.
Awesome, thank you. We're gonna roll through this section so that we can get to it. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Khalil from Roxbury. I was a teacher. 28 years old. My birthday's next month. I don't know what else.
Why did you get involved with the film?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been organizing since a teenager, and you know, people came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to be in this film about organizing?" And I was like, "Sure."
Give it up to him.
Before I go, I shout out Khalil and Youth Justice Power Union has been doing recently towards the city budget in Boston. If you haven't heard about it, please check it out. Yeah, but to be quick, my name is Stephanie Hooten, and I'm the filmmaker for A Collective Future. And we made this film kind of to tell the stories of like all these different movement struggles that are really interconnected, because they all have this common strategy which we call resist and build, where people are resisting, but then they're taking it a step further and they're like forming the worker co-op, or they're changing where money goes in our city, or they're getting housing that's not just affordable, but it's like sustainable for them to live there long-term, working towards that collective ownership. So that's just a little bit, but I did work with a group of amazing organizations that you can learn more about in the corner over there after. They were the ones that like initiated making this film. So I just really wanted to make sure that I told folks stories like genuinely and authentically, and I was really happy to use a lot of archival footage that I had from a lot of movements and protests over the years, the past like 10 years in this film. So yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Michael Lorario. I was a co-editor or co-director and editor of Legacy of the HUD. The Gale family is very close to me. They're childhood friends of mine. KG used to drive me to and from soccer practice, freshman year all the way to senior. So they're very close to my heart. I'm very honored and privileged to tell their story. Fun fact about me, I play left wing back, so.
Okay.
Justin Wynn. I was a cinematographer of Legacy of the Hut, also a producer technically. And a fun fact about me was I was a Fender. And the reason why I wanted to get involved with this is because I'm a child of immigrants. I love seeing this Asian family kind of come together and kind of coalesce and remind me a lot of my family. So.
My name is Rob Pearson. I'm the founder and creative director of Thunder Road Projects, a production company based here in Boston and New York, predominantly pushing non-union commercial production and now documentary film. So this was our second film that we've had in ROXFest. So thank you so much to ROXFest and the Seven Sisters for having us again. I'm so happy to be here. I love this time of year. The reason why I think that we wanted to make this film is because we wanted to tell stories about New England and like Boston. And I think that like that texture is something that's so special. You hear it in the accents, right? The people in the film and stuff like that. It's something that's so undeniable and unmistakable. So I think I want to tell films about New England and Boston, being from here. And a fun fact about me, I really like taking photos. So.
Okay, me too. All right, last but not least.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Crosby Tatum. I'm the producer, editor, writer, director of People United and Lead Legacy.
I love that. Long time, say it one more time. Are People United?
Yeah, I live in Legacy, the People United. Sorry, I have not. I was basically I've been going on 24 hours since coming back from Chicago, so forgive me. The Obama Library is awesome.
It's time for our president, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And what drove me to the People United? This is actually an update of a film that we did back in 2020 that premiered in 2024, the original People United film, now on Prime Video. That documentary after the murder of George Floyd. It really impacted me in a very, very negative way, to the point where I almost felt like I wanted to let's just say go to the other side, but basically this is just an update of this movie to basically let you guys know what's been going on with that community and bring it to light, because what they go through is actually also impacting us here, not only in Boston, but around the world today. So to say that 5 years later, has things changed, we don't know, and that's really what brought us to this point here. And fun fact about me, I just like creating.
All right, let's give it up for all the filmmakers. What you just witnessed, I think in my former life I must have been an artist. Now I'm a politician. And one of the things that George Floyd actually and Breonna Taylor did for me is I passed police reform in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I made chokeholds illegal. I make no-knock warrants a little harder. All because, you know, when you grow up in a neighborhood like this, and maybe some of you grew up in certain neighborhoods, there are two movies about this neighborhood. One is called Holding Ground, and the other is called Gaining Ground. It's a book called Streets of Hope. And it's about how a neighborhood took 1,400 parcels of vacant land, fought everybody, got eminent domain power, which was one of the first organizations, started the Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative. And today I get to be the senator. There's only 3 lots left. 3 lots left, y'all. Give it up. For 1,400 parcels of vacant land that was either done through arson for profit or was done through redlining and other things. So I'm going to ask a question of each film, and I'm going to have one person per team ask it, because I have a couple questions, and then we're going to take 1 or 2 from the audience. What drew you to tell this particular community story? So I'm going to start back over there, and if there are 2 or 3 people from a film, just one person answer, and then we'll go to the next question, because we have a lot of good questions. So what drew you to tell the particular story you told?
Like I said before, one of our experts has worked with Allensworth for many years, built a really, really cool relationship with them where he's ingrained in their community. He was able to really bring us in and build trust with the community so that we could come in the week that we were there. And I mean, the first day that we were there, we were at the farm of Julio and Maria that you saw, and we intended to just kind of like take a look around, but they had us for dinner. We talked with them for many hours into the night after traveling there. We just really felt welcome. So that really set the tone for the week and set the tone for the whole film that we made. And our work with agrivoltaics and with regenerative farming at UCS, Union Concerned Scientists, was what kind of drew us into the town, but really the people brought us in and inspired us to really work hard on this film and tell their story in a way that was from their perspective. Again, they helped build the narrative, they helped with the production all week, we were with them, and then every draft of the edit they had a voice in, and we showed to them, and they were able to tell their story. And we hope that this benefits them and other like communities in California who are dealing with land repurposing and with water shortage. So yeah, we want to do more projects like this. And throughout the week, we talked about how like all the projects, the incredible work that they're working on, we want to come back in like 5 years and do a sequel to this film where we can really showcase the work that they've done. So yeah, we really built a relationship with this community and want to keep working on it. So.
And so something we hear is like a lot of times when you're doing the movement work, it doesn't always come immediately. Sometimes things come once and then you come back around. So that'd be a great idea. So next film, what drew you to the project?
I feel like we talked a lot about in the beginning, just really like the strategy of, using powerful stories to drive people into action. And I think something really special about this film is the 3 people we followed like come from, different struggles, but also like politically different places. But like there's a lot of common threads, and like in looking into the future, there's like a lot of power in when they're discussing kind of like the work that it takes to continue, especially when you're facing, like budget cuts and like, or just like any kind of resistance, like you have to keep that hope kind of there. And I think it's also not necessarily like, I think we really want to show that people can come together even if they identify differently politically or have different approaches and strategy, because I think that's kind of part of the work is in organizing, is like you're meeting people where they're at, but also together we're kind of like learning, and not just through tactics, but also like politically. I think that like in our film we have people coming from like, some people are like anarchists and some people are like socialists, and then there's also someone in the film who kind of like didn't really have a political leaning necessarily, but there was still so much to talk about and so much to take action on together. And I think for me, like I'm really drawn to telling those stories and just making sure that I'm being authentic with it, because it's, there is, as filmmakers know, there's no such thing as like an objective film. Like we're all making a film that's, got an angle of some kind, but I think our angle was really getting to the heart of their personal stories of why they are doing this work, and also like how we can unify despite differences, even like on the left. Like, there's a lot of spectrum. Yeah.
On the left, I know something about that. Next film, what drew you to the film?
If I may, if I'm quick, can I do a 2-for-1? Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's do it. So what I really love about Legacy of the Hut is that it's really a snapshot. It's kind of like this time capsule of not only Plymouth, the Gale family, Aiden's life, and also Dave's life. Now, the Gale family are now opening up their 3rd restaurant. They opened up the Himalaya on Juneteenth this year in Plymouth, Massachusetts. That's their 3rd restaurant in Plymouth. Now, we're showcasing them, captivating the Plymouth community with the Lobster Hut, and now they're expanding it to more. Aiden is carrying on his father's legacy as a firefighter. His father died. He's carrying on that torch, and then Dave, obviously an excellent father. So for him to battle addiction and come through, exceptional.
Thank you. Is this the last film? Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, that was good. Well, so what brought me to the People United, as you know, it was the murder of George Floyd. And here living in Boston, born and bred here in Roxbury off Humboldt and Homestead.
H block.
So what really drew me was just on the news broadcast, the building of the community that was out in George Floyd Square, the harmonious
impact that was happening out there and how it was translating all across the country. And then when it was our turn in Boston, we were building so many communities out there. I remember the Freedom Fire Coalition, a number of other organizations here that were just marching and protesting. And I really just wanted to capture the energy and the impact that murder, this moment in time, was producing. Lo and behold, it actually produced, basically, it's impacting us still to this day. So when my movie released back in 2025, my beautiful girlfriend, Yanni, purchased me a ticket to go to Minneapolis to celebrate the 50th year anniversary. I didn't know I was making another documentary at that time because you're seeing the community, they're still going through the pains. And honestly speaking, I'm also still going through that, but still getting through it. Because people are learning to deal with the notion of dealing with the pain of something that traumatic and rising above it. So when you hear, building and connecting with Miss Angela Harrelson, who actually just penned us a letter for the Roxbury National Film Festival, that's right outside, if you guys have it. It's her personal letter of how she feels, how community, that even when the news stories and is not talking about it, they're still talking about it because they're keeping it alive. They're keeping the momentum alive by just memorializing that moment in time that continues to affect us to this day. And that's most important when we continue to build community here, is to memorialize and recognize it and our power with that.
One of the things, so let's give it up for all the filmmakers. I'm going to joke, but it's probably true. I definitely have an artistic background in my former life. But as an elected official, right? We've done a lot of good work together. Oftentimes, public opinion or public art helps us lead to public policy, right? When we saw George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor get killed and massacred, many people in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts were like, why are you working on police reform? Those things don't happen here. They do, but they happen in places like Roxbury, where there's about 30 to 33 deaths a year in urban core areas due to police violence. And when George Floyd was killed, there was a very interesting moment that happened to me where I thought about the day I walked onto Wellesley's campus. I still remember Sean Bell. I still remember Amadou Diallo. And you would think that 20 years, 25 years would make those memories pass. But it didn't. What it had was it heightened me to think about, I gotta do something. So I'm gonna make it safer in Massachusetts, regardless if we're not Minneapolis. We all know when something happens somewhere, it eventually happens, what, everywhere. So I'm gonna ask a question of the folks who didn't answer, and then I'm gonna go to the audience for one question, okay? We're trying to do this very quickly. But for the folks who didn't answer part of different films, what lesson do you hope that people took from your film? When I got to college and I got to see Holding Ground, I didn't realize that I was part of a movement. I didn't realize that I did something special for generations to come, because I was just trying to clean up my neighborhood. It smelled bad, it looked bad, people were dumping on us, and every time I looked at the news, they called us savages. And I remember going to the John D. O'Brien thinking like, hey, I'm a good student, I'm gonna leave this community, I'm gonna go far, far away. And folks would talk about us like, because we were in the middle of that crack epidemic, right? We were in the middle of gang violence, and folks really diminished us. And so all the work that we had did to like change our neighborhood, it almost felt like it evaporated. So I know you all have focused on telling the story of resilience and community empowerment and love, but what do you hope people in this audience and people who see your film really gain from what you produce?
Yeah, so something that Justin said to me actually like pretty recently about filmmaking as like a process stood out to me is like filmmaking as like a form of resistance. Right? Like the process of like making films, like filmmaking is very hard. Like everybody sitting here understands that like there's an incredible amount of work and time and effort that goes into making like a finished film, right? And so like I hope that that's what you would take away not only from our film, the legacy.
But yeah, that's what I hope everyone just takes away, is that like the act of like making things is like very much resistant. So I would just encourage you all to whatever that medium is, continue to do that, because that's what that's your active resistance.
That's one of the things that Juneteenth, give it up to him. I really have to go to like 20,000 Juneteenth events. I represent Black Boston, but I also represent Black Massachusetts. So the neighborhoods between Hyde Park and the Fenway, where Northeastern and the MFA are, the corridor is literally the home of Black Boston. And I was at all these Juneteenth events, and I started in Beacon Hill, and it was like, it's a remembrance fest to remind folks that African Americans arrived here, Africans, in 1636 and 1637, right? So we were founded in 1630. So between 6 and 7 years after that, there were Africans on the north slope of Beacon Hill. Now, Beacon Hill now, we don't think of it as a Black community. People think Roxbury is a Black community, Mattapan's a Black community. People don't think about that. So an act of resistance and remembrance is what I'm thinking about this weekend. So you want to pass the mic over this way for folks who didn't speak. You didn't speak, you didn't get to say something, did you? What one lesson do you hope people gain? And I'm going to take it to the brother. I love your little hoodie, but I can't tell what it is. Because I'm over 40, so my eyesight's kind of messed up. But yeah, you're going to ask the last question, and I'm going to go to the audience for one question. Is that cool?
Sounds good. Kind of going off of what Mal was saying, no one was really asking us to make this film. Willing that into existence is something that's really powerful. We've done a lot of work in commercials, but making this film is kind of like really special in that way because we're kind of crafting it and telling the story that like millions of people, I might be over exaggerating, but millions of people go to the Lobster Hut every summer.
Pretty close, pretty close.
Yeah, especially on July 4th, and I'm sure most of those people don't know the exact story of how it's who's bringing their food to them. So,
I think food is like something we underestimate, how the power of food and breaking bread is a powerful story in itself. I can't do the mayonnaise, I can't do cold, but I like my warm, hot butter, lobster roll. Thank you, but the stories behind the people who start things and carry it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think just look beyond what you guys walk through day to day. That's what I look for.
I think about even Dudley Street when we think about the suya joint right across of us is a West African business, and then P&R is a Caribbean business, and if you go 3 blocks, there's all these Cape Verdean businesses because that's where the Cape Verdean community went. So power of food is super important, and understanding what families, many of them immigrants, whether they came first generation, second, third, fourth generation, added to this country. So last but not least on my question, what's the one lesson you hope people get from your film? And if there's someone dying with one question, we're gonna end with you.
Yeah, I just won't take up that much time. I know we're running a little late, but I just want everyone to understand that we're here fighting for youth jobs. We're here fighting for affordable housing. We're here fighting for things that really matter. And that can't be in the back. That needs to be at the forefront of your mind every single day. Because for a lot of people, it's unavoidable. For a lot of people, Mayor Wu just cut around like $5 million from like housing vouchers, and for some people, that's at the front of their mind because that means they don't have a place to stay. So that needs to be in how you move. Y'all need to be up at City Council with us. Y'all need to at least follow us, support, call your city councilors, do something, because things are moving, things are happening, and we need your support.
Thank you for that. And it's so true, because we have a $64 billion budget in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and my predecessor didn't necessarily believe in earmarks, but I do. And I think about the fact that I just got $100,000 for Hibernian Hall, and $100,000 also from National Center for African American Artists. Because if we don't fund these cultural institutions, if we don't fund Freedom House, if we don't fund Greatest Minds and these other organizations, they will not get funding. There's no more money trickling from the federal government. So thank you so much for what you do, and thank you for inspiring us and also holding us accountable. No one gets to be in elected office without the people. And when we get into elected office, we need the people to always hold us accountable. So is there one burning question that someone in the audience have for the filmmakers? Then we'll take a quick picture. Is that cool? All right. And if you guys wanted to know, it's 2-2 now between Cape Verde and Uruguay. So I'm super excited. Is there anyone here in the audience that has one burning question for the community building shorts? If not, let's give him a mic. Someone got a mic for him, or can you speak loudly?
I can speak loudly.
Say your name, where you're from.
I'm Benji Maurer, I live in JP.
Hi JP, I represent JP. Hope you're proud.
So my question is for Khalil, which is, you talked a little bit about how people can get involved in a general way. But one of the things that you do is participatory budgeting. So how do people get involved with the budget so that we're not funding the police more and we're instead funding these jobs?
Let's give it up for that question. So everyone heard that, but the city of Boston has a little bit of money allocated to participatory budgeting, but the rest of the budgeting is really between the mayor and her administration and the city councilors, who have both fiduciary responsibilities to figure out how they're going to spend the city's budget. I don't necessarily know right now, because I'm not in the city, what the budget is, but if you guys have heard anything in the news, the young people and community organization have fought back. There's been some money reallocated, about 11 million. It's still not enough, but the city council and the community have been fighting against this budget that basically stripped youth jobs, arts and culture were the two biggest drawbacks in this budget. And now, I do believe that there's a room for private-public partnership. When I was younger, I was 18 years old. I was on a board called the Empowerment Zone Board with Charlotte Gula-Ritchie, and we gave $1 million to youth jobs. Everybody should be wanting to support, but budgets are legislative priorities. And if you're not going to put up something, you can't expect just private businesses and entities to make up the way, because we should be investing in the things that matter the most. If you have not been looking at the news, since these budget cuts have been happening, in the last 4 weeks in the city of Boston, there's been so much trauma. We've had a 22-year-old, a 16-year-old been murdered. We just had a woman run over by a car. Like, the city's really reeling, and I really believe it's connected to money. So, Khalil, how do we get involved with participatory budgeting?
Yeah, so I just kind of want to quickly go over what it means for people who don't know. So I think right now there's around like $1 million for participatory budgeting. What happens is there's a process where people can put issues online for participatory budgeting, and then they're able to vote on it as young as 11 years old, and then they give the money to each issue until there's no more money left, so they divide the 1 million, and it might even be a little less. It's 2 million now? Okay, it's 2 million.
It's Eliza. Hey, Eliza, girl.
Yeah, it's 2 million, so they divide the money to like the top issues. So just remember to vote on participatory budgeting. I think the voting process is like every February, and then the inputting process is like it's July, yes, the summer. So that's on the participatory budgeting, and if you want to support that more, tell city councilors, starting every May, hey, do not defund participatory budgeting, because they always try to defund it and they don't really like it, and for some reason the administration doesn't really like it either. And speaking on, like the general how to get involved, it's hard because, groups are really at the forefront, and each group is doing what they can, and we're combining and talking and figuring things out as we go. So really just like support your local organizing groups and really hear them out when they make asks. And we have this table over here with pamphlets and stuff, and just make sure you check that out and try to get involved. And speaking on this youth jobs thing, Mayor Wu and the city council. I'm gonna hold them accountable. Completely gutted the school year youth jobs program. It basically doesn't exist at this point. And she's saying we're gonna get private funding, like you were saying.
Yep.
And it's just, it's fake. It's just like, she's basically saying, hey, there are these organizations who will hire youth. Look at what I'm doing. That's the school year youth jobs program. And that's unacceptable, and it's gonna lead to so many bad things. So it's, one thing that you can do is you can call your city councilor and ask for a supplemental budget for these jobs.
Let's give it up to Kalia and everyone else. So I don't know where everyone comes from, but I'm gonna say that, but I just want to remind y'all, everyone here has a senator, everyone here has a state representative, and has at least 5 city councilors, and the mayor, and the mayor's office, and administration. So that's at least, right? Let's count, let's do math. It's at least 5, 6, 7 people that represent you. And so what's super important about the motivation on all these stories is that you don't just have to sit still and let things happen to you. That you can actually speak up, and if there's one thing that you can't get over that keeps you up at night, that you could reach out to a senator, a rep, at least 5 city councilors, your district, and your 4 citywide, and then your mayor and the administration that's there for you. So let's give it up for these filmmakers.